Thank you for joining today's session. We will be getting started shortly. We do have a lot of folks signed up for today's session, and we want to give everyone a moment to log on and get connected so that we can dive into today's session. I do want to thank you all for joining us today. I am Jasmine Garrett here with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Today's session is an informational overview of the NJEDA grant and loan programs available to small businesses in New Jersey. A quick housekeeping note, we do suspect that many questions will be answered in today's presentation. However, you are able to write in questions at any point during the presentation using Zoom's Q&A feature. It is one of your Zoom command options and will allow us to make sure we are able to get back to you and let others see these questions and answers as well. Today's session is being recorded and will be posted on our NJEDA and YouTube pages. The slides and other resources will also be available in the next few days. Now, to get us started with the presentation, I will shift things over to NJEDA's Business Development Officer, Rick Ty. Rick?
Thank you, Jasmine. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us for the Small Business Week Show Me the Resources presentation. As a Business Development Officer, I help to connect business owners primarily with our lending resources, and I'm going to talk about our lending programs. So the New Jersey Economic Development Authority is the state's principal agency for driving economic growth. Our mission is jobs growth. Our mission is to increase access to opportunity. So our lending resources. Next slide. Alberto. Thank you. So I'm going to talk about four main programs: the Small Business Fund, the Direct Loan Program, the Premier Lender Program, and the New Jersey Capital Access Fund. So the first three programs that I'm going to talk about are our traditional lending programs. These are collateral-based lending programs for businesses that are profitable, that have been in business for at least 1 or 2 years. These are available to both for-profit and not-for-profit businesses. So the Premier Lender Program is a partnership program where we at the EDA are able to partner with your bank. It's a way for your bank to leverage New Jersey Economic Development Authority assets to help more small businesses. And the way this works is if your business is considering financing your project, they perhaps don't want to take on all the risk. They can call us in and we will participate. So for example, if you have a project and your bank is willing to fund 60% of the amount you need or 70% of the amount that you need, the EDA can come in and finance the remaining 30 or 40% that you need in order to be able to move forward with your project. So I have some breaking news. We're now able to fund up to $5 million through this program for businesses that have less than 750 employees. This program is available for both for-profit and not-for-profit businesses. We can do up to so three main reasons that we lend: for the purchase of real estate, for the purchase of equipment, and for working capital. For real estate and for equipment, we can lend up to $5 million. For working capital, we can go up to $1 million. We also offer guarantees on lines of credit. The way this would work is we can give your bank a 50 cent on the dollar guarantee on a line of credit, again, to help you get approved for a loan or a line of credit that you otherwise may not get approved for. Now, what this requires is, because our mission is jobs growth, we require one job that either currently exists or that you anticipate creating within 2 years of the loan for every $65,000 in EDA participation. We require that your business be profitable to qualify for this program. For for-profit businesses, we're going to be looking for a 1.1 global debt service coverage ratio. And for those of you that don't know, a debt service coverage ratio is just a way of measuring profitability for a business. 1.0 is break even. So we're requiring that businesses are going to be doing a little bit better than break even at 1.1 when we account for any potential lending balances in our cash flow analysis. We can go up to 100% loan to value for real estate, up to 90% for equipment. There is a $1,000 application fee for this program, a $750 commitment fee. On this screen, you are seeing a list of our current premier lender banks. If you don't see your bank on this slide, we would like to talk to them. We may still be able to work with your bank to help you if they need a participant in the loan, if they're looking to share the risk in order to get you approved. But these are the currently approved banks, and we are always happy to talk to additional banks about participating in this program. We also have the ability to do direct loans without bank participation. We can go up to, the number is now 5 million for this. We can do 1 million for working capital. These are hot off the presses numbers, so eventually we'll be updating these slides. Our interest rate on both the Premier Lender program and on the direct loan program is based on the 5-year US Treasury rate. Right now, the Treasury rate is around 4%, and we would add a spread onto that anywhere from 0 to 2.5%. So worst case scenario, depending on where the Treasury rate is, your interest rate could be somewhere today in the ballpark of 6.5%. So we do require collateral. As I said, we are collateral-based lenders for this program. We do have the jobs requirement that I talked about. One job that exists or that you anticipate creating for every 65,000 in EDA exposure. We require the 1.1 global debt service coverage ratio. That's only 1.0 for not-for-profits. On this program, the application fee is $1,000, and then there's a 0.875% commitment fee and a 0.875% closing fee. So our small business fund is our most cost-effective borrowing program. This is only for businesses that have revenues of $3 million or less. For-profits need to have been in operation for at least 1 year. Not-for-profits need to have been in operation for 3 years. We can lend up to $500,000 through this program for real estate or equipment. Also up to $500,000 for working capital. You'll notice the application fee for this program is only $300 with only a 0.5% commitment fee and a 0.5% closing fee. So our newest lending program is the New Jersey Capital Access Fund. For businesses that don't have collateral for a collateralized loan, this is a good option. This is a working capital loan program that provides funding of up to $250,000 for a term of up to 5 years. Employers cannot have more than 50 employees. Can't have gross revenue of more than $10 million. You do need to have been in operation for at least 1 year, and you have to demonstrate the ability to repay the loan through cash flow. And I talked before about how we do our cash flow analysis by determining that debt service coverage ratio. The proceeds from this loan can be used for things like payroll, supplies, rent, utilities, marketing, advertising, and other business expenses. The way this program works is we have a questionnaire on our website, and we ask anybody who's interested in a working capital loan through this program to answer the questions on that questionnaire. And we partner with other lenders called community development financial institutions. These are nonprofit lenders. And based on the answers to our questionnaire, we will match you with the best CDFI for lending purposes. The CDFI would then underwrite the loan and then potentially give you an approval, lend you the money. We come back in on the back end in this program and buy 80% of the balance of the loan from the lender. And again, this is a way for us to partner with lenders to leverage our assets to be able to help more New Jersey businesses. Now, because this is not a collateral-based loan program, the interest rate is going to be a little higher. The last I checked, on the high end, you're looking at 9.5%, 10%, worst case scenario, which is not terrible for a loan that does not have collateral. So we also have one additional avenue for borrowing. We have a tax-exempt bond financing program. This is a way for nonprofits and for manufacturers, for certain exempt facilities like airports, docks, wharves, to borrow money tax exempt. Now, the advantage to you is you would get a lower interest rate as the borrower if you qualify for this. And it says funding of up to 10 million. That's for manufacturers. There's actually no limit to how much can be borrowed through this for nonprofits and for government or those exempt facilities that I mentioned. And the way this works is we're not actually the lender. A bank would need to underwrite the loan and be willing to lend the money. We are a conduit issuer of these tax-exempt bonds, and that way, both the borrower and the lender benefit from being able to offer a lower interest rate. So anyone who's interested in this, I'm happy to talk with you one-on-one about your potential eligibility. One of the first steps is always going to be to talk to bond counsel, and they will help you figure out if it's going to be a viable deal for the bond financing program. But we can have a preliminary conversation and either steer you in the direction of bond counsel. We have a list of approved bond counsel on our website, or we can talk about other lending options. So this is just one of the tools in our toolkit, and certainly for those who qualify and where the dollar amounts make sense, it's a great option. So this is our NJEDA business banking team. We're led by Nye Marshall, and this is our contact information. So got my phone number right there. You're all welcome to email or call me with any questions. And I'm going to stick around to be here to answer any questions later on in the presentation. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Jabari from the Small Business Services team to talk about some of our grant programs.
Thank you, Rick. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jabari Adams. I am a small business liaison for the Small Business Services team. We essentially connect small businesses in the state of New Jersey with the state's grant programs and grant resources for small businesses. These programs come from our Main Street Recovery Program, which essentially houses all of our grants, loans, and other additional resources for lenders. All right, so tonight we are going to speak about 4 grants. I will handle the first 2, and then my colleague Alberto will talk about the last 2. So we're going to talk about the Small Business Lease Grant first. which provides grant funding to offset portions of your lease payments. Then we're going to talk about the Small Business Improvement Grant, which reimburses business owners up to half the cost of what they spent for any improvements to their business. Then my colleague Alberto is going to be speaking about the Small Business E-commerce Support Program, which provides free e-commerce and digital marketing consultant services to small businesses. And then he'll also touch on our newest program that we have, which is the Main Street Acquisition Support Grant, which reimburses you up to $50,000 for your closing costs on commercial real estate purchases for your business. All right, so first one we're going to talk about is a small business lease grant. So this program allows you to receive 20% of your first 2 years of your lease payments on a 5-year lease. So some of the stipulations for this program is that they must include street level space. The lease has to be executed within at least 12 months prior to the application date. Very important part. So the first payment that you receive, apply for the program, you sign the lease, you apply for the program. Then in a few months, you will get 20% of the execution for 20% of the first year of the execution of the lease agreement or the grant agreement. And then after 12 consecutive payments, then you will receive the second payment of 20% after 12 months of those payments. In this one, the landlord cannot have ownership interests in the applicant. So there must be separation there if there is ownership of the property in that particular business, for that particular business. The grant covers 250 to 10,000 square feet of office, commercial, or retail. The buildings can be larger than that, but the grant covers that 250 to the 10,000 square feet. And you can have a new or amended lease for this program, but you must add an additional 250 square feet to enlarge the current space that you're in order to qualify for this program if you currently are already in the lease. Good thing about this program is that the applicants can use this for multiple locations. So say, for example, if I own 5 bakeries, each one of the bakeries would be able to apply for this lease grant program separately. You cannot be in default of any other NJEDA or state assistance at the time of the application. Operators of high-tech business incubators are eligible for this grant. So the businesses that are within the incubator will not be eligible for this, but the owner of the incubator can be eligible for this program. One other stipulation is that we have a wage requirement. So employees must be paid at least 120% of the minimum wage or $18.58 an hour. And it's also 120% of the tip wage for tipped employees, which is at least $6.74 an hour. You also have to have a tax clearance certificate and also be in good standing with the New Jersey Department of Labor and the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. There is also application fee with this program. It's a $100 non-refundable fee, but it's only due at the time of approval and prior to the execution of the grant agreement. Here's just a few examples of some businesses that have used this grant. On the one hand, you have 2nd Street's new facility in Plainfield, New Jersey. They received $63,000 over the 2 years for those first 2 years of the 20%. And then Feeding Hands, who also received $40,286 for their grant over the 2 years for the 20% of their lease grant. The next program is probably one of our most popular programs that we have is the Small Business Improvement Grant. So this grant allows you to get reimbursed up to 50% of what you spent to improve your space, up to $50,000. So these can include interior or exterior work and improvements and purchasing or installing the furniture, fixtures, and equipment. There is a 2-year look back on this grant program. So in other words, if you go and apply today, May 8th, 2025, you have back until May 8th of 2023 and include all the repairs that have happened into that 2-year time frame. This is the only grant program that we have that home-based businesses are allowed to apply for. They are eligible to receive reimbursement for purchases of only new furniture, fixtures, and/or equipment. we cannot reimburse items that are essentially attached to the home. The minimum project cost for this is a minimum of $5,000 for one or more projects. And then the maximum grant amount, or the program is capped at $50,000, which essentially is 50% of $100,000 spent. You do need the landlord's permission if you are currently leasing a space to apply for this program. There is a time stipulation to this. So if you receive less than $25,000, you are obligated to stay in the space a minimum of 2 years. If you receive anything over the $25,000, then you must stay in the space at a minimum of 4 years. Unlike the previous grant program, this one is limited to one application per EIN, but under one EIN, you can include multiple locations into one application. So I'll go back to my example of the bakery. If I own 5 bakeries, I can only, and they're all set on, and they all sit under one EIN. I can only submit one application, but I can include the improvements from all 5 locations into one application for this particular grant. Once again, you can't be in default with any other NJEDA programs or state assistance at the time that you apply. One of the biggest things with this grant is that you must provide documentation. It is one of the is extremely paramount in this program that you provide as much documentation as you possibly can. So these may include invoices, statements, payments, and/or canceled checks. The more information you have and organized, the better for this grant program. You also still have to meet the wage requirement for this. So employees, once again, must be paid 120% of minimum wage, or $18.58 an hour. And tipped employees have to also be paid the tip minimum wage, which is at least $6.74 an hour. You still need a tax clearance certificate for this program, and also still be in good standing with the New Jersey Department of Labor and the Department of Environmental Protection. Once again, it's also a $100 non-refundable fee, but it's only due at the time of approval and prior to the execution of the grant agreement. And once again, these are 2 other examples of businesses that have been able to use these improvement grants. To the left is the Rancocas Creek Farm, who received $43,372 for their reimbursement payments, which included tractor barn installation, some hoop houses, electrical installation, and support of the program. And then there's also the YMCA of the Pines, who received $50,000 for reimbursement for and some infrastructure improvements. So now I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Alberto, will talk about our last 2 grant programs here with the Small Business Services.
Thank you, Jabari. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and happy National Small Business Week, of course. Jabari talked about 2 of the resources that we have at this moment available for small businesses that can help you offset your lease payments, can help you get money back, reimbursed for money that you already spent on your business. We also have a small business e-commerce support program. So this grant basically helps businesses that are in the restaurant, retail store, or personal care sector. So basically, a retail store under this grant can be considered if somebody can walk into your business and purchase either a product or a service, it can be considered a retail store under this grant. And personal care businesses such as barbershop, hair salons, nail salons, wellness centers, yoga centers. So basically, this grant, we partner with 7 different e-commerce consultants that service different regions of the state. And we understand that, especially since the pandemic, a lot of business has shifted towards e-commerce, and a lot of small businesses have not been able to basically get their website up to date. So this is a great resource to revamp your website, get your store, your business found. And if you're in one of those sectors and you have a physical commercial location, this is not for home-based businesses. The only grant that we have at the moment for home-based businesses will be the improvement grant. So this one, you do have to have that physical commercial location. If you do meet those requirements, we basically cut you a check, pay up to $11,400, so you can sit with one of the consultants that partner with us for this grant and benefit from any of these solutions for your website. So that you can work on simply optimizing your website. creating an e-commerce platform. If you have a product that you like to sell, you can create an online ordering platform for restaurants, especially specifically. If you're in the personal care business, you can also set up an online appointment booking platform. You can work on a digital marketing plan. Again, it's a lot of resources that can help you. Again, just create a better user-friendly e-commerce platform for anybody that wants to get anything from your business, buy anything, purchase anything from your business. You can also get help with your SEO, basically getting your business found. If you like to install basically like an online store, they can help you with that as well. And they will provide training on some of those resources so you can continue to work on this grant. And the way that this grant works is that basically there's no application for this grant. You contact one of the e-commerce consultants directly, right? We just want to show you an example of some of the work that they do. So these e-commerce consultants, they are listed on our website. Basically you choose who you want to work with. So, you do your homework, you see what type of work they do, what fits your business needs better. And then you give them a call. You have a conversation with them. And they are the ones who assess your eligibility, not us. They let us know if you're eligible. And then at that point, we basically pay for the services that you will receive through this grant. So again, it's a great resource for those small businesses that need that additional assistance with getting their website up to date. The turnaround time for this is basically days, because since you contact the consultants directly, if they don't answer, they will give you a call back within days. And just to recap a little bit for the other two grants, for the lease grant, if you apply today, you're looking somewhere in 2 to 3 months for a processor to contact you that will start working on your application with you. And for the improvement grant is 6 to 8 months, and that's simply because of the volume of applications that are in front of you. But again, once you're able to submit that your application, you will be in the queue. You simply have to be patient until we get to your application. So another resource that we have is the Main Street Acquisition Support Grant. As Jabari mentioned, this grant will reimburse you up to $50,000 for closing costs related to the purchase of a commercial property in New Jersey from which you will operate from. So the business that will apply for this grant purchases the commercial property, and they have to commit to operate from that location. And I'll get into the details. So it's one application per EIN, and you can only do one single location. This is open for nonprofits and for profits as well. The closing must have taken place after the application was open to the public, which was October of last year. So it has to have taken place after that date. And cannot be late no more than 1 year from that date of closing. Okay, they have to beat the business that will apply for this grant or that looks to apply for this grant. They have to meet the SBA definition of a small business based on their NAICS code. And as I was mentioning, you have to occupy at least 1,000 square feet of the total usable square footage of the building that has to be devoted to commercial use. Okay, and you have to have purchased the property in an arm's length transaction with a conventional lender, which we provide information of that in our website as well. Some of the additional terms, as I mentioned, only new purchases are eligible. Okay, you cannot use this funds to refinance an existing loan, or the closing cannot be a refinance of an existing loan. It cannot be only for residential use. It can be for mixed use, but it cannot be just solely for residential use. Vacant land, unfortunately, is not eligible under this grant. And there's also a wage requirement similar to what Jabari was explaining for the other grants, that you have to commit to pay your employees 120% of the minimum wage once you are approved for this grant. And if you are looking to benefit from this, just keep in mind that the EDA will place a 5-year deed restriction on the property to restrict any property transfer afterwards. And if you are approved, there will be a $500 fee at the time of approval. Okay, there are certain additional conditions that apply. I really do encourage you to go to our website, njeda.gov, to read a little more about this if you are interested, if you feel this is something you can benefit from. Okay. So again, these are all stackable grants. If you're eligible for all of them, you can apply for all of them at the same time. They are currently funded and they are currently open. Okay. My team, which my colleague Jabari is a part of as well, will be glad to follow up with you if you have any questions, specific questions about eligibility. There's our contact information, and we are now, we'll be very happy to open up for questions. So, Jasmine, oh, sorry. Yes. So let's open up for questions. Let's see what we got.
Alberto, how about I'll read some of the questions that were in the chat and then we can open it up to some of the folks
Sounds
on
good.
the presentation, if that's okay.
Excellent.
I'll do the first one since I actually know the answer. There was a question about whether a nonprofit organization like a VFW can apply for the small business lease grant and for the small business improvement grant. So typically, yes, nonprofits are eligible to apply for these programs. There are some other requirements, so definitely reach out. You can reach out to me and send me an email. But just on a basic level, yes, nonprofit organizations are eligible to apply. Next question was a question about startup funding, and I'm going to throw that over to Rick. Just in general, there was a question in the chat, and we get this question all the time about, is there loans for starting up a business?
So, thank you, Kathy. So for startups, we don't actually fund startups through these programs. We are backward looking, meaning we need to see tax returns. Your most recent tax return needs to show profitability. And we need to see, preferably, we like to see 3 years track record. In some cases, we can make do with 1 or 2 years worth of tax returns.
Okay, great. And there's one more for you, Rick, while we have you. Can a real estate investment company, so someone who does rentals, get access to the New Jersey Capital Access Fund?
The short answer is yes. The longer answer is when, and I want to clarify this for everybody, when we talk about funding the purchase of real estate, we are only talking about funding the purchase of real estate for owner-occupied real estate. The New Jersey Capital Access Fund is a working capital loan, so that would be open to the business for working capital purposes, but it would not be a fund that you could use for the purchase of real estate.
Great, thank you. That was it from the chat that I think that we needed some clarification on. And Alberto, I guess if you want to go to questions from the participants, can you see hands?
Yeah, let me stop sharing here so I can see everybody.
Okay.
Yes, we have one person with their hand raised. Hilda, I'm going to allow her to speak now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear that.
Yes, hi, how are you? Well, I'm about to purchase a mixed use building where I am operating my auto repair. It is located in Kearney, and basically the business is in the first floor and the second floor is an apartment. So I'm gonna be purchasing, doing the negotiations directly with the landlord. So my question is like those $50,000, it will be help me with the closing. I mean, I know it will be refunded, but is it okay? I will be able to get that money even if I do the negotiation directly with the landlord?
So we're talking about the Main Street Acquisition Support Grant here. If you guys want, I'll jump in on this. So Hilda, with the Main Street Acquisition Support Grant, the requirement is that the purchaser occupy at least 1,000 square feet of the property. As long as you are going to be occupying at least 1,000 square feet, it can be mixed use. You can have tenants.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I actually is the whole first floor that is more than, it was like 7,000 square feet that I use already for the business. It's just that my question is if I will be able to get that, that grant, even though I'm not gonna be lending money from an institution. I'm just gonna be doing the negotiation with the landlord.
Oh, no, it needs to be an arm's length. It needs to be an arm's length transaction, meaning it needs to be with a bank or a lender like the NJEDA or um, or a community development financial institution, that type of lender.
Who can I speak to in the NJD? Because banks, forget about banks. So, because no matter if I get, from you, or I'm purchasing the building, but I wanted to know, like, if there is anybody I can speak to in the NJDA about this to see if there's an opportunity for me to get the loan, I would say, from you guys.
Well, I'd be the guy to talk to. I'm happy to talk with you. I will put my contact information in the chat for everyone who has lending questions. And Hilda, we can make an appointment to have a conversation and see what programs are suitable for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And
Sure.
Hilda, if I may, you can also benefit at the same time from grants for your small business, even if you are trying to pursue the Main Street Acquisition Support Grant. If you qualify for any of the other grants, we can also have a conversation to see if you can benefit from those as well.
Hi, Alberto. It's actually, I really thank NJDA because I have been able to get all the grants that you have, and I'm very, thankful
Okay.
for that. So thank you so much.
Well, that's even better. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Maricela.
Right. I'm unmuting her now. There we go.
Hi,
Maricela.
Maricela.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Oh, hi. Hope everyone's doing good this afternoon. Question for you. So we are in the process of purchasing a commercial space in East Orange, New Jersey. Our company is a firm that specializes in lead remediation and lead abatement. We're also expanding to do risk assessments. I guess my question is, not sure if it's similar to what the other person had asked. Um, so we're looking to obviously give a hefty down payment, and obviously if we want to qualify for any of your programs, we need to take out a arm length loan, which we have no problems with that. How would the $50,000 grant, would that also, can I apply for that for any renovations of the commercial space or for any closing costs associated with the purchase of the building?
So those would be different programs. There's an improvement grant for some of the work that you just described. The closing cost grant, which is the Main Street Acquisition Support Grant,
Okay.
is very specific. It's only for closing costs. And at your closing, when you purchase your real estate, there's a
Mhm.
document. It's called the HUD-1 document. And that has a list of all your closing costs on it. That's
Mhm.
going to be, those are the only things eligible for the closing cost grant, are those closing costs listed on that HUD-1 document that your lawyer would produce for you
Okay.
for your closing. But
Okay.
one of my colleagues, Alberto Jabari, can jump in and talk about the improvement grant, which could be helpful for
Yeah.
you for the additional things that you talked about.
So
Correct.
after
Thank
you
you.
purchase that property, I'm sure you're gonna have some expenses to get that place the way you want it, that you need it. Those expenses could be eligible once you are completed. If you're doing a repairs or improvements, or if you're purchasing any new furniture, fixtures, or equipment. So after you make those expenses, then you can apply for the improvement grant, which, as we mentioned, is a reimbursement grant. So with the state, you apply for this program, and you can get back 50% up to $50,000. So it's a great resource that you can combine if you're eligible for both. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
Absolutely. I think we have Kareem.
Kareem.
Hi, thank you, guys, for the information. I guess my question is for Richard. We are an agency that we work with individuals with disabilities, and we were looking to buy our first office space. We actually just signed a contract on a building. Everybody's been working remotely, so we finally decided we'll be able to get our office space, and we need, the help to get our down payment in and everything. My question would be, does the building has to be, if we buy it, does it have to be in the name of the same company that provide the service, or can it be a real estate holding company that can receive the grant?
Yeah, it's very common. We'll work with you if the real estate is in the name of a holding company. We often see real estate transactions where there's an operating company and then there's a separate holding company to hold the building.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And I'll write down Richard's contact information at the end whenever it's provided, and I'll reach out to you hopefully tomorrow.
It's in the phone number and email are in the chat feature right now. I put my info in there right now.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Got it.
Matthew?
Hello.
How you doing, Matthew?
Hi, thanks for all the great information today. Two questions, the easy one first. In that grant that was included like self-care places, does physical therapy count as that?
Yeah, it could be considered one of the personal care businesses for the e-commerce grant you're referring to.
Yes, e-commerce
Yes.
grant.
So, but I would encourage you to actually reach out to the consultants and have that conversations about eligibility with the consultants, because they are the ones who determine your eligibility, not us. So I don't want you to quote me for anything that you might ask me about eligibility, besides the fact that yes, personal care businesses, you should be if you're thinking about just that specific eligibility criteria, yes, you should qualify as a mental therapy. Is that what you mentioned?
Yes, yeah, physical therapy. Thank you.
Mhm.
The other question was about I guess my bank, Valley Bank, was listed on your preferred lender thing. I guess how much do they know about these programs? It didn't seem in my initial conversations anyway that any of this came up. How do we do we have to ultimately, go through the NJEDA to work back through the lender, or should the lender be able to get get that rolling themselves?
That's a great question, Matthew. Thank you for that. And one of the challenges is we have banks that are in our program. Not all the bankers necessarily are educated on our programs yet. So that's a part of our outreach. We do outreach obviously directly to the business community like this event, and then we do outreach directly to banks in order to educate the loan officers about the resources that are available. But in your case, if you're interested in having us partner with your loan officer at Valley Bank, you could do an intro. And if you see if your loan officer is willing to have a conversation, and then you and me and your banker, we can have a phone call or get together and have a meeting and discuss your loan and see if it makes sense to bring the EDA in.
Okay, terrific. And last question was about I know in sometimes loan distributions, like when there's a build out for a renovation of a space, loan distributions are given directly to contractors. Would that paper trail be allowable for the improvement grant reimbursement?
You're talking about construction as in repairs that were done to your business?
Improvements in the space.
Yeah, so as long as it's within that 2-year time frame, as Jabari mentioned, some of the what we look for proof of payment, basically, we're flexible, but we want to basically connect the dots. Just make sure that it was the business that is applying for the grant, that their name is in the invoice. Okay. So if
Okay.
that's the case and you use contractors, there are some requirements, additional requirements if you're using contractors, but they're definitely eligible. Yes.
Okay, but the cash check from that
that will go to you. So whatever grant, or to the business, right? So whatever grant you are approved for, whatever amount, it will go in the name of the business. Yes, that is applying for the grant.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Yep. So, yep.
So
We have,
Ramesh,
hi, Ramesh.
Ramesh.
There you go. I think we can hear you now. Are you there, Ramesh? Yeah, we can come back to you. I think
Nash.
Nash Patel, what's next?
Can you hear
Hey,
me,
Nash.
guys?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
I had a question in regards to that digital grant that you guys referring. Can we use that funds for like advertising on Uber, DoorDash, and all that?
Can you use the funds for advertising and?
Advertising on the platform of Uber, DoorDash, and other delivery systems.
So it's whatever website you're using for your business. That's what basically the work is going to be done. Is that what you're asking?
No. So I think one of the option is to create your own website and create ability to take digital orders. My question is, my restaurant already accepts, it's a franchise. So I like to advertise further so that we can drive traffic to downtown for customers that want to utilize DoorDash or Uber. Can we advertise on those platforms and get reimbursed?
Not to my knowledge. So again, this is not a reimbursement grant. Okay, so this is something that whatever you're gonna, whatever work you're planning to do on your website with the e-commerce consultants, that's where they're gonna basically quote what's gonna be the final amount of the grant. And this is a money that is not gonna go to you; it's gonna go to one of the e-commerce consultants.
Got it. Thank you.
All right.
Ramesh, are you there?
I think he put his hand down.
Okay. All right. Anybody else has a question? Going once.
Anything else from Kathy or Michelle? Any of the written questions?
I think we have one more hand raised.
That's Nash. Nash hasn't put his hand down yet.
There's another one.
Ramesh?
Ronessa Johnson.
Ramesh, can you hear us?
Ramesh, if you can hear us, our information is in the chat. If you don't mind just reaching out to us, we'll be glad to follow up on whatever questions you might have. But we obviously cannot hear you. We apologize for that. But if you contact us, we'll try to follow up with you. Okay. I see another hand up, Jasmine.
I only see Ramesh on my end.
There's Sabrina
I
Dawson.
see, yeah,
All right, I see
Sabrina.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your time today. I just had a question. I'm a New Jersey realtor and I'm helping my mother look for a new hair salon space that she wants to basically mix use it. Today makes 13 years that she's been in business in Matawan, New Jersey as a beauty salon. So we just wanted to know when we help her find the place, you're saying that the main acquisition grant, am I correct? Is that something that she would be using or the e-commerce grant for the personal use?
So there are different resources, right? So if you're looking to purchase
Mm-hmm.
that location for your mom's business and she's going to operate from that location, you occupying at least 1,000 square feet, that could be an option that you
Okay.
can benefit from. But the other grants are also options. So it is not, you don't have to limit yourself to one. If you're eligible for all four, you can apply for all four that we mentioned.
Okay.
The lease grant. So if you're not purchasing, you're looking to lease a space, then you can look into benefiting from that one.
Okay.
If you're going to have any expenses, right, to get that place
Up and running.
up and running, right? All those improvements or repairs that might be needed, purchasing maybe new equipment that she might use, though, just the keyword is new, right? It can't be used or refurbished. As long as they're eligible items, then you can apply for that one as well. And the e-commerce, yes, you would qualify as a salon owner with a physical commercial location, obviously. So again, it can be just a number of resources that you can look into applying for.
Now, what if you don't have a physical location regarding an e-commerce store?
So if you don't have that physical commercial location at this point, you can't apply for that program. You do need to have that store, that brick and mortar location. Now, since you mentioned that you're looking for a location for your mother, I'm just talking about after that happens, she can apply for that. Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
Got it. Got it. And that goes for anybody with the e-commerce store. You have to have a brick and mortar to be able to apply for that.
That is one of the requirements. Yes. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, everyone.
Absolutely. Good luck. Right. See a couple hands up.
No one has a question. Can I call?
Was that Nash?
Yes. No one
Okay.
has a question. I do have a question. If I'm doing housing development and I need to build a website, would that qualify as part of the grant that you are referring to here?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
If I'm I'm going to be doing a development for housing, and I need to create a website so to show it to potential buyers. Would that qualify for the digital website grant that you're referring to?
So depending on your business, okay? So if your business has a brick and mortar location, and whatever it is that you're selling or product or service, they can work with you, as long as you comply with the other requirements, being considered a small business, having that physical commercial location, and being within one of those three sectors, either consider a restaurant, a retail store, or a personal care business. Okay. Realtors, if you have an office, you have foot traffic in that office, you could be eligible. But as I mentioned before, I would encourage you, if you are interested in applying for this grant, to contact one of the e-commerce consultants directly and have that conversation with them, because they are the ones who can advise you, have that final word on eligibility. Do you have any other questions? All right.
Hi, I had a quick question regarding the small business improvement grant. So for the category listed as furniture, fixtures, and equipment, I understand that's a fairly broad classification. Are there specific exemptions or limitations that would make this ineligible?
Are you talking about what items might be ineligible?
That's correct.
All right, so look at it this way. Hardware is eligible, software is not eligible. So you can get reimbursed for computers, iPads, printers, anything that you might have in an office setting, anything that you need to operate your business, basically. That's what we look for mainly, that it's something that you need to operate your business. And you said, do you have a brick and mortar or you're home-based?
Brick and mortar location.
Okay, so and may I ask you what type of business you have to see what items might be eligible or not?
Yeah, we have a tutoring and exam prep business.
Okay, so any items that you used to operate your tutoring or
You could turn down your volume. I'll turn
Yeah,
mine up.
your business could be eligible. I mean, anything that has wheels on it might not be eligible. Okay. Soft costs are not considered eligible either. So if you're doing any repairs or improvements and you need to pay for like permits or engineering or architectural design, those will be considered soft costs. Those will not be eligible. Supplies are not eligible either. Any vehicles will be considered rolling stock. Those will not be eligible. Like, food trucks or any business related vehicles. But those are like the main things, and obviously any illegal items as well. But those are the main like things that you can get an idea of what's not eligible. There's a lot more things that are eligible, So,
Yeah, for instance, we have a smart board. So that's something that we purchased recently.
correct. So that should be something definitely eligible. Okay.
Okay.
But just keep in mind, it has to be within that 2-year time frame. They have to be purchased new items, right? New furniture, new equipment, or new accessories, right?
Yeah, and I just had a follow up on that for the application because we're in the process of filling it out. So what we've been doing is saving every receipt as like a PDF, like if we purchased it online. So we'll do print to save PDF. And then we're also using the Excel document you guys gave us. So we have a really long Excel document. I know that's going to be a lot to look through, but that's how we've been doing it and just categorizing everything. Is that the right way to do it, or do you have any recommendations to do it otherwise?
Are you
Alberto,
working with?
do you want me to jump in here? Because
Sure.
okay, thank you. I just want to give a little bit of advice that the processing team has given to me when I go back and say, would this be eligible or that would be eligible? They always say that if it's furniture or equipment that you use to operate your business, put it in there because they won't pre-certify or pre-qualify or say that this thing is going to be eligible. But just put it on there. The worst thing that's going to happen is when they get to that line item, if it's not eligible, they're just going to put a line through it and they're going to take it off. So it is, as you said, very broad, and Alberto said it's very broad. So that would be our best advice is just put everything on there, and obviously not soft costs, but anything that's considered furniture or equipment, as long as it's within that 2-year period. And like Alberto said, it's new, put it on that sheet. And the more organized you can be, which it sounds like you're being, the happier the processes will be when they get your application. So what you're doing, the invoice and corresponding proof of payment is exactly what they need.
Yeah, and also thank you, Kathy. And also keep
Yes.
in mind that this is a one-shot deal, right? You can only apply for this grant once per the lifetime of your EIN. So what that means is that if you apply for this grant and you get, let's say, $20,000 back, you can't come back for the other 30,000 later. So we always encourage small business owners that are looking to apply for this grant to include everything they have. Go dig anything that you might think it's eligible. We'll sort through it. But after you submit your application, you will not be able to submit additional invoices. So that's why we're very adamant about encouraging folks to make sure that anything that you think that might be eligible, include it, so that you can get the maximum benefit from this grant.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All
Okay.
right. I see Demetrius, and this will probably be the last question. 1 second. Demetrius?
Yes, hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, this is just a general question. Can I go back and watch this recording?
So Jasmine, we're gonna have that.
Yes. This recording will be posted on our NJEDA YouTube page.
Okay, great. That's all, guys. Thank you. Have a good night.
You're
As well.
welcome.
Thank you.
I have one more hand, unless they put their hand down.
We have Stella Gray.
Soleil.
Yes, hi.
How
Good
are you?
afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
So I have a brick and mortar. I've been there for 5 years, but I don't have a lease. It's like a month-to-month agreement.
Right. So one of the requirements to qualify for the lease grant is that you do need to go into at least a 5-year lease term.
5-year lease term. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, Alberto, that's it on my end. I don't see anyone
Everything
else.
else is available. I know what's available too. That's just.
You gotta go into 5. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody's time and interest and all the resources that we have at this moment at the NJEDA. Again, I believe our information, it's in the chat if you want to follow up with us about anything specific about eligibility for any of these grants that you think you can benefit from. Again, we do really appreciate your time. We wish you a rest of very happy National Small Business Week, and we hope that you found all this information useful. And have a great night. Thank you all.